when the world has got you down. And
Alzheimer's sucks. It's an equal opportunity disease that chips away at everything we hold dear. And to date, there's no cure. So until there is, we continue to fight with the most powerful tool in our arsenal, love. This is Love Conquers Alls, a real and really positive podcast that takes a deep dive into everything Alzheimer's, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And now, here are your hosts, Susie Singer-Carter and me, Don Priess.
Hello, everybody. It's Susie Singer-Carter.
And I'm Don Priess, and this is Love Conquers Alls. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Donald. How goes it?
It goes pretty well, you know, except for the fact that it's possible because I had to pick up, we had our little Yorkie poo groomed this morning. And after she's groomed, there's white remnants that go up and they stay in my nose.
Oh, your nose.
So hopefully,
yeah, it's
I
the
won't
dog.
Just start sneezing.
It's the dog.
It's the dog's fault. Yeah,
You're
you know,
right.
white remnants in my nose. Yes.
Yeah,
I'd say it's,
right.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, the dogs get blamed for everything.
Everything.
All right,
So
everything.
hopefully, I won't be
All right,
sneezing too much today.
All right, Chippy.
Yeah.
So,
how's things?
what
What's going on?
Still working on the organization of the walk, of our Roar Walk for September 27th. And we've actually registered a national day to coincide with the walk. How cool is that? It's the National Long-Term Care Reform Day. It's the inaugural one. And hopefully the goal is to not have to need that day anymore.
Absolutely. Let's hope that
Right?
this walk is the last one.
Yeah, the first and last. It's
Yes.
kind of lofty, but whatever.
A little pie in
why
the
not?
sky, but
You got to be lofty, you know, to even think about doing this, right? So we're lofty.
yeah.
So what?
Susie's only putting in about 18 hours a day right now. And I keep telling her to stop being so lazy and get on it because, you know, this is not a game. This is serious. So.
My God, I literally bought glasses. I'm a workaholic. Let's just face it. But I never worked this hard on doing a movement, a grassroots movement, which is not my lane. But you know, I keep thinking about Margaret Mead's saying that, you know, anything that's ever been worthwhile, I'm bastardizing it, so I'm killing this.
Yeah.
But it basically is that anything that's ever made change started with a small group of passionate people. So, and that's the truth. So I am small and I'm passionate.
Mm-hmm. And somehow
Right?
you're a
And so-
group also, just all
I'm
by
also-
yourself.
Well, no, because I'm mighty and I've forced people to join me on this.
Exactly, whether they want to or not. So it's
It's true.
so by
It's
September
true.
we should have about 300 million walkers if you keep going on the
Yes,
pace that you're
please.
going. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
And putting out the word that we are looking for volunteers, we are looking for walk leaders.
Walk leaders.
In all states, even, you know, every state, every city. You've gotten how many states now?
Have 22 states out of 50. They're almost at the
Right.
halfway mark. That's pretty damn
Yeah.
good. And more than one. So we're almost at, like, I think we have 22 states, 38 walk leaders. So that means more than one or two, more than two or three in a couple of the states. So that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And if you
yeah.
and by the way, if you feel you know that organizing a walk or being a walk leader is too much responsibility, you can go to our website and find out where there are already walks, and you can join those walks in your city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not too hard. And I just say join us because we need the power of the people. Here's another meme for you: the power of the people is greater than the people in power, and that's true. That is true.
Yeah, that is true. I got another one for you.
What is that?
Hang in there, baby.
Okay.
I did
All
my-
right. So if you're
my
not
best
if you're not
cat
watching,
impression.
yeah. If if you're older than what, 40, 50?
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because it's basically like that. This was like the meme of like the what?
It was on posters. It was.
Yeah, and it was always a cat like on a wall with its eyes going, and it would say, "Hang in there,
pole,
baby."
Yeah, yeah. So that's my
God.
Contribution. So
I only know about that because you told me about it.
I did. I think I called it up. Well, you don't remember anything before the internet started, so.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Anywho, we have a fun guest today who's been very, 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 very supportive of us, and I like that. I can't help it.
Yes.
And he's super sweet and super nice and very smart and very resourceful and motivated. All the things I like. And he's
right.
Yeah.
No wonder you get along.
We do get along. And, well, you're going to say, I'm not going to give anything away, but I am going to say that I had the honor of endorsing his latest book, and that was really lovely. So I like that. It's my second time I've done that, and it makes me feel very proud. So I appreciate that. So Don, why don't you introduce our terrific guest?
I will do that right now. Mark Wilson is a former Fortune 500 leadership executive who spent over 25 years shaping high-performance teams at companies like PepsiCo, Taco Bell, and Yum Brands. But everything changed when his mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Faced with a devastating prognosis, he made a life-altering decision to leave his corporate career and become her full-time caregiver, determined to defy the odds and give her not just more time, but a better quality of life. Blending his leadership expertise with deep personal devotion, he built a care approach that extended his mother's life beyond expectations and transformed his purpose. Today, he's an author, advocate, and advisor with the UCI Mind Center, championing Alzheimer's care, patients' rights, and hope for families everywhere. And today, he's here to discuss his new book, Breakthrough Alzheimer's Care, a powerful and practical roadmap for family caregivers who want more than just survival. They want their loved ones to thrive. We are more than delighted to have him here with us today, so let's not wait another moment and say hello to Mark Wilson. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Hi, Don. Hi, Susie. I couldn't be more excited about being part of your show today. I met you a while back, Susie, and have been following you, and I love your new film, No Country for Old People. Best documentary ever. I can't believe it didn't win like multiple Academy Awards. It should have.
From your mouth. That's so sweet. How much did you pay him to say that? No, I'm kidding.
Nothing.
I appreciate that. I know you're true, and you also supported us during it. And you made donations, and you've been supporting our movement, Roar. So you are a man of your word, and we appreciate that.
Thank
you.
Really
do.
I'm ready to roar today.
Let's go.
Man of
Let's
action.
Do it.
Let's roar.
Yeah, I told you. He is very, very entrepreneurial, and he is an A-type. I can see that. I mean, so I want to know, like, first of all, like everything. There's the moment, like, you have this high-powered career as a corporate. In the corporate world, that gives me the hives, because I only experienced that once in my life, and it was like, I remember getting called in for wearing a tank top in a corporate setting that was entertainment based, and I got called in for a tank top. I'm like, this is not my people. Like, I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm a producer. What's going on? I don't know. It is a whole nother culture. Am I right?
Definitely. It's I loved it, but it's definitely different for sure.
It's definitely different. So here you have it. And then so at what moment did you decide, like, what was it that made you shift from this life to the life of a caregiver with your mom? Like, what gave you that confidence to just go, I'm done and that's it? Because that's a huge decision.
It's so funny because it was not a hard decision at all. I mean, I love my job. I worked with some great people at Taco Bell, and it was very successful, and kind of was kind of moving along in my career. And then my sister, who was close to my mom too, she kept saying, "Well, Mark, there's something wrong with Mom. I can't put my finger on it. I think we should get her tested. There's something wrong with her. Maybe it's dementia or whatever." And I was classic denial. It's like, no, she's just getting older. She's, now in her 70s. And anyway, my sister's pretty assertive, and she said, no, we're going to get her tested. I said, okay, good. So we took her tested at UCI, and she had Alzheimer's. And I didn't know anything about Alzheimer's. I knew nothing about it, knew nothing about caregiving. But I pulled the doctor aside. And I said, okay, what's going on here? How long does she have? And she said, it's so funny. Well, she's not that old. She's in her early 70s. But she has some other comorbidities, and she has two forms of dementia, Alzheimer's and vascular. It's hard to know for sure, but I would guess, 5 plus or minus years. And I thought, early 70s? No, that's not going to work. So I thought, okay, I'm going to figure out how to help her live a lot longer than that. And then, so I worked for about, 9, 10 months and tried to take care of her at home at the same time I was working, and it was too hard. I wasn't doing either job very well. And so I just went to my boss and I said, no, I'm sorry. I have to leave to take care of my mom. It's a priority, very important to me. And he said, you're not even old enough for early retirement yet. What are you doing? I said, no, this is a priority, so I'm sorry. So bye-bye. so I did. And then I had, she was still early enough where I still had some time I could do research. I talked to everybody on the planet. I was used to dealing with executives. I wasn't afraid to calling, big-time leaders in dementia and neurologists and reading. And anyway, I figured out, obviously there's no cure. I learned that quickly. But
like we all do, right?
but I learned that there's also a lot of little things that could be done that there's, quote-unquote, some evidence that would help them. And I thought, okay, well, if there's some evidence, why don't I try all these things? And as long as it wasn't hurting her, we shouldn't have bad side effects or whatever, just throw the kitchen sink ideas at my mom, and maybe collectively it'll make a difference. So that was my approach. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try all these things. And my mom and I were always super close. And so she trusted me, and she let me do all these crazy things, and changing her diet, supplements, art programs, cognitive program. Anyway, all this stuff. And she went along with all of it. And it helped a lot. She was happy, and she lived a lot longer and healthier than this crazy doctor thought she would. She almost lived 3 times longer than the 5 years. And she might have even lived longer, but for a surgical mistake toward the end. And anyway, I don't know if we want to go there, but basically she would have lived longer, but for a medical negligence mistake. So
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it was horrible.
That's awful. I do want to get to that, but let's talk about the other positive parts of what you did, because I think that's what's going to help other people. So if someone is overwhelmed right now, and because I, like you, never knew anything about Alzheimer's, was like, Mom, we got this. No one else has cured this, but we are going to get it. We're getting it, right? And then I was like, woohoo, delusions of grandeur, cuckoo. And then it was like, now how do we actually deal with this, right? And so for those people that are going through that right there, that moment where they're like, what do I do? Like, what approach can you give them that would be like the step number one? Like,
yeah. Well, it starts. Yeah. It starts with leadership and a frame of mind. If you're the caregiver, it's easy to sort of be because there's no cure. It's easy to feel like, it's hopeless. I can't do anything. I'm just like, the cat thing. I'm hanging on barely. Yeah. But no, you can do a lot of little things that make a big difference, and you need to be strong, even as hard as it is. Being a caregiver and seeing your loved one slowly decline and become a different person and not the same person is the hardest thing that I've ever done. In fact, I tell people, I go, way harder than being an executive working 60, 70 hours a week. That's a piece of cake compared to being a family caregiver. So,
yeah.
It's 24/7 and it's heart-wrenching, but you got to be strong. And so part of what I learned is I kind of drew on my strength as a leadership development executive, and I thought, there's a number of little tools that I've picked up that I would teach people. One is called the mood elevator. So if you're low on the mood elevator, basically you feel like a victim, you're blaming people, you're not going to be very effective for your loved one, and you're not going to be very happy as a caregiver. So you got to figure out how to stay high on the mood elevator. And in my book that you mentioned, I talk about a lot of different things. There's kind of internal sources of strength that you draw on. Some people draw on their faith, whatever their God, whatever. Other people draw on their pride in who they are and their love for their loved one. Then there are external sources like support groups, therapy. I mean, there's lots of things, exercise, socialization.
Exercise, I was going to say,
Yeah, all those things together, good nutrition. So there's like internal and external ways that you can draw on their strength, because you have to be I talk about this and I believe this. You have to be a care leader. You can't be a caregiver, because if you're going to be a care leader, that's how you manage and drive all the things that it's going to take to have your loved one live longer and healthier and happier. If you're just a cat hanging on as a caregiver, nothing great's going to happen. I mean, your loved one will survive and go through whatever the process is, but to be a care leader, you can make a difference for your loved one. That's kind of the thought.
I love that. I was thinking just recently that, because people ask that question a lot about, which we talked about before we started recording, was that, the difference between having someone at home and having them in a facility. And I say that when you do have to put your loved one in a facility, you don't stop being caregiver. You become care coordinator, which is like a leader. You are the leader, and you must be the leader. And because no one else has that job. It is you are the CEO of your loved one.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Yeah, I think it's a little easier to do it at home because you have more control. But
Agreed.
You can manage the care facility, whatever. I mean, I talk about the core team of the direct caregivers, home caregivers that I had to hire to help my mom, because after about a year and a half, 2 years full time, and my mom's condition getting worse and worse, that's what happens with Alzheimer's, it was too hard. So I decided to bring some home caregivers in, and being an HR executive leadership development, I was the pickiest SOB hire ever of caregivers.
Yeah.
So I had.
You have to be.
You have to be. And people were so funny. They're like, "Oh yeah." I'd call an agency, and they'd say, "We're going to send somebody over." I said, "No, you don't send anybody over. I interview them first."
Yeah.
And I knew from a concept called the pool of talent. If I had 6 or 7 agencies I worked with, I'm going to have a lot better pool of talent than if I just have one agency. So I would draw these candidates, I'd interview them, and I'd find the best couple caregivers, and then I'd give them a trial shift. And I knew kind of what I was looking for. I was looking for safety, number one, because if your loved one isn't safe, nothing good happens. And then the second is I call it the magic part, which is a combination of, do they show love, compassion, empathy? Do they have fun with my mom?
Yeah,
connection. Or they have fun with her? Does my mom respond well to them? That's the magic part. And they had to have both. And I found the best team of caregivers ever. And they helped me execute all these great actions that I came up with. And I couldn't have been happier with these caregivers. In fact, today, my sister and I are still friends with all 5 of them, because my mom, the last kind of 4, 5, 6 years, needed full-time care. And these women were around-the-clock help for us, and they're still friends because we love them and they loved us, and they're part of the family. And so that
Right.
magic is so important, because that's what helped her live longer and happier and healthier. And it's all about the right players. And if you're in a facility, you can do that stuff. It's harder, but you might have to be a little bit tough on some of these people. And if you're not happy, pull them out. Find another facility. I mean, seriously. So.
I mean, the thing is that what you're saying is so appropriate, because we're talking about human beings. We're not talking about, a product. And so we're talking about what are the important qualities that you need when you're to live. Like you need connection. You need, to be compassionate. You need to have some similarities. There was people that my mom didn't get along with either, and other people she just adored. Well, that is human, and that needs to be taken into consideration. Because we have to be empathetic and put ourselves in those positions. Like as a mother, I always did that. I tried to get inside my 3-year-old's head and go, "Why is that doll so important?" And you have to think about like what's important for other people, and try to deliver that as best as you can. I know how hard it is, because I also hired people to help us when my mom was living with me. And I didn't do what you did. I should have had your book, because I called one agency they sent somebody over, and she quit in the middle of the shift. I'm like, where are you going? She goes, oh, your mom's too hard. I got to go. I'm like, what?
And this was they were there, that this was their specialty, Alzheimer's, and it's too hard. It's too hard.
Okay. No,
now, a lot of people, I mean, it's because some people aren't in a position to be able to afford full-time care. What steps can you take? Let's say you don't have that ability at home. Where are you at on that as far as, okay, what can you do as an individual without, when it's just, sometimes it's just one person. They don't have family, friends,
right.
anyone who's in that position to help. Any guidelines there?
Well, I think that's a good question. I mean, if you're the sole caregiver without any help and you have them at home, basically it's that you got to be strong too, to be a strong care leader, and then just do the best you can to implement these actions that I've identified as, really key for longevity and health. And it's hard. I mean, you got to give yourself, I talk about the 5 breakthrough pillars of care. The first one is self-care, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not getting a little bit of rest here and there, you're not going to be very good for them or for you. So that's the hard thing about being the one individual sole caregiver for your loved one, because Alzheimer's and dementia gets slowly, progressively worse, and it gets harder and harder. So I know there are people that do that, but I give them so much credit. It's like, I don't know how. I mean, I tried for 2 years, and that was it. I couldn't do it anymore. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't being a good caregiver. I wasn't being able to implement all these creative ideas I had because I was just wiped out. So it's too hard.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that is hard. I don't even know what the answer is for that, and I think that therein lies the reason why we need a better system that supports people that can't afford to have, to actually support another caregiver. That is an issue, but that's for another day. So what give us the 5 pillars of the breakthrough approach?
Sure. Yeah. The first pillar is self-care. It's you have to be self-energized and have the right mindset of a care leader and be strong and healthy. That's number one. The second one is safety, because if your loved one isn't safe, they're not going to live longer. They're not going to be happy because they're going to get hurt. And so safety is number 2. And I talk a lot about how do you create a safe environment for your loved one. In a facility, I provide checklists about what do you look for if you're in a loved one's facility. And if in your home, how do you change your home? And it's not hard. There's just a few things you can do to create a much safer environment at home, or watch for and make sure your facility has them. I mean, they're things like, just make sure that the flooring is not super hard flooring, because if your loved one falls, which there's a good chance they will, if it's a tile or hard floor in your facility or at home, they're going to hurt themselves. So, for example, I had these. I sort of borrowed a lot of ideas from kids, because if you watch these, there are these like play tiles that you can get for kids.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And so I put
rubberized.
Those on the tile in the bathroom. So if my mom fell, she never did, because her caregivers were on top of her. But if she did, she'd be okay. And then in her bedroom there was a rug, so that was okay. So little things like that. Have some rails that help. There's a lot of little things like that. So safety is number 2. Number 3 is have the finest care team ever. And this is really leveraging a lot of my experience in HR and leadership. How do you find them? How do you interview them? How do you assess them once they're in your house for a trial shift? How do you coach them? I mean, you're not the expert on care, but I talk about a coaching model that helps make good caregivers great caregivers. And how do you coach doctors, which, believe me, doctors do not like to be coached, but you can coach them, and you have to lead doctors. I call doctors part of the extended care team. Your direct caregivers are your core care team, and your extended care team includes doctors. I had physical therapists come to the house. I had a speech therapist. Kind of other people that are involved in your loved one's care, and that's your extended team. You have to coach and manage and lead those people too. Much harder to lead than a direct caregiver, but that's pillar number 3. Pillar number 4 is a combination of nutrition and supplements and medications. It's kind of all those things, and I list all the different supplements. And talking about doctors don't like supplements, but I found that I had a list of about a dozen different supplements that there was a little bit of evidence that they helped with dementia, or there's a strong link between your physical health and your brain. So they're either helping your physical health, which helps your brain, or vice versa. But how much each one contributed to my mom's, longevity and health and happiness, who knows? It doesn't matter. It didn't matter to me. It was like a lot of little things added up. I don't know what caused
It couldn't
what.
hurt. It couldn't hurt.
Yeah, and I would try little bits of things to see how she would do, and if she didn't react badly, I would just, give it to her. So I think that's number 4, and then the fifth pillar it's an interesting one. It's a combination of creating a really loving, supportive, fun physical environment and people environment, and so that's the 5th one, which is an interesting thing. I learned the concept from one of my projects I had at Taco Bell. I worked with the head of marketing, and we had 17 restaurants in Tucson, Arizona, that were like our play restaurants. It was like a pilot project, and we could do anything we wanted with these 17 restaurants. And so we did all kinds of crazy stuff. We changed the physical environment. I taught them how to do improv, because I thought that would be a lot better than a rote script, to be able to kind of improv with customers. Anyway, so one of the things I learned, I brought in a consultant to help me. He talked about touch points, and so the idea was, when you walk into a restaurant or retail environment, your customer sees things, hears things, feels things from every moment through the process. Even when they leave, there's feelings. And so I kind of borrowed that idea, and I thought, okay, how do I help my mom's environment both be fun and loving and caring and safe? And so each moment of a day, a week, a month is a touch point. And so I figured out, my mom was a kindergarten teacher. She loved fun kid things, and so we would create her room with stuffed animals and fun things, and she would love it. And when we'd go out, I would decorate her wheelchair and her walker with stuffed animals and paintings and fun things, and it was great because we'd go out. I'd take her out for, I call it an adventure. Every single day we'd take her out. One of the caregivers, and myself or my sister, we'd go out, and her walker would be decorated to the hilt, or her wheelchair, and kids would come around her. Kids would come around her and say, "Oh, look at that! Look, Mom, looks so cool. Can I touch it?" Yeah. And she would just. Yeah. My mom lost her speech early on. It's one of her first signs, but you could see her face just smile and love seeing these kids who were so excited about what was on her wheelchair.
It's so cute. You're so cute.
And my mom would do coloring pictures and stuff, and I, like you do with kids, we would then put it around her room and put them up, and we were just so proud of her. You could see that she loved seeing them, because that means that. Family's proud of what I was doing. So that's the examples of the physical environment. And then the people environment is, don't let anybody have any touch point, face-to-face time with your mom that isn't fun, positive, caring, empathetic, loving, and basically fire anybody or don't give them access if they're not supporting that people environment too. So that's number 5. And I think that lends itself to happiness. And we know that if people are happy, they're probably going to live longer. There's a connection between happiness and health.
Gives them a purpose.
Yeah,
exactly. It gives them a purpose to live.
Exactly.
Going back to number 3 a little bit, and this kind of is with your extended care team or your care team or anyone who deals with is how important is it for you to let them know who she is, who she is as a human being, what she did, what she loves, all those things. So they connect with her on a human level, and that includes doctors, and any care provider. Did you find that was something that you tried to do, and do you see the value in that?
Definitely. Well, but I didn't really cue them to those things in the interview process, because one of the things I learned about interviewing is what questions that they ask is very important to how they think about things. So I wouldn't tell them much about my mom on the front end, because I wanted them to ask questions about her. And so if they weren't asking questions, or anyway, so that I wouldn't even hire them. So if they're curious about my mom and what she is and what she likes or doesn't like, that's a good sign. But yeah, I would share. I mean, the caregivers got to know her so well. I mean, I could share with them. They knew more about my mom than I did in some ways because they were intimate with her. And that was the other thing. When my focus was, I wanted the caregivers to make this beautiful connection with my mom. And so my sister and I were more like support. We were watching and coaching and leading, but we also were doing the housework, doing the cooking, because we wanted the caregivers to be face to face, connecting with my mom, and not worry about cleaning things up or cooking. That was our role as support leader to do that kind of stuff. So they knew my mom super well, and that was part of the magic, that they could focus on that, focus on her safety. Like when she'd have lunch, I would make lunch, but they would sit down and eat with her and make sure she was safe eating, because dementia patients sometimes have trouble swallowing and that kind of stuff. So that whole piece is so important. The care leadership part, hiring, coaching, and then knowing when to fire them. And in my book, I have 4. When do you immediately fire a caregiver if they do any of these 4 things? Like don't even let them finish their shift. Just send them home. One was I had an overnight shift where a caregiver fell asleep, and my mom, the only time she ever fell was she fell getting out of bed because his caregiver was asleep. And so I had a little camera that I would try for overnight shifts if I didn't know somebody, like their first shift. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, this lady fell asleep. And she was so funny. She made up some story. She says, well, your mom was going so fast down the bed that I didn't catch her, and that's why she fell. I said, that can't be right. I mean, come on, if you're watching. So I played the camera, and I said, no. You were asleep. Get out of here. So, and there's a couple other things, like they're always on their phone, they're not paying attention to your loved one.
Right.
Get them out of there. So things like that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely, right?
Definitely.
Exactly.
So the book is part memoir,
Yes.
right? And then part a guide.
Yep.
So what is the main thing that you want people to feel after they read your book?
That's a great question, because it's so funny when people ask me, well, why did you write the book? And I wrote the book because I wanted to give people hope and a plan, and to feel like there's hope, because it's very easy with Alzheimer's, because there's no cure, and it's the hardest thing to ever do and experience, to feel like overwhelmed and not hopeful. And when you feel that way, then you act that way, and you don't really do what you can do to help your loved one or yourself. So my goal in writing the book was to give people hope and a positivity around, okay, I can do things, I can make a difference, and it's not hopeless, and if you help your loved one live happier and longer, that's pretty good. I mean, there's no cure, but 3 times longer than they thought, which was my mom's situation, is pretty doggone good. And having a lot of happiness. I mean, she was happy. That's also good too. So if you guys can, the reader can kind of benefit from that, or try to follow the plan and do the best they can, and have the mindset of a leader and the mindset of hopeful, then I've accomplished my goal in writing the book.
I love it. It's like what I did with my mom and the girl. I wanted people to see that when you lean into where they're at, and you approach this disease as a worthy opponent, and you understand it, that you can have happiness more. It really do, and it is happy, and you find it's like so life altering when you do surrender to it. Don't you think?
Yes. Oh, yeah, big time. And I see that. I lead several support groups now for the Alzheimer's Association. And these people come in there crying. They don't know what to do. And it's like, no, you can make a difference. And you can do some things that help yourself and help your loved one. It's not easy. I don't want to make it sound like...
It's not easy, but it's different. It's just a different shift of how you look at your mom. Like, I always say there was a moment where I became mom. And that was... if you asked me that 5 years before that, I would have been like devastated. But when it happened, I was like so proud and moved by that moment, because I knew that she was safe with me. Exactly.
Yeah, in the book, I talk about 4 mindset shifts, and you're talking about really a mindset shift. I mean, one mindset shift would be like victim, to empowered. I mean, so you don't want to be a victim, even though it's easy to, how could this happen to me? How could this happen to my loved one? my life has changed. I'm being robbed of, my life now, whatever it is. But you don't think of it, okay, I can make a difference. I can be empowered. I can help them. So there's different mindsets that you have to kind of slowly sort of get your head around for your own benefit and for your loved one. So.
And isn't that the way it is in life anyway? And aren't we all terminal? So at the end of the day, one of the colleagues who is an attorney that we interviewed said, for our documentary, said, a person who is in their 80s, 6 months to someone in their 80s is like, 5 years to someone in their 40s. So time is just relative rather. It's relative
yeah.
to the age that you are. And so making somebody's life better for 5 months, for a year, for 3 years longer than, that's incredible. That's what it's all about, because we're not promised anything. We're not guaranteed anything.
No, and I would argue that quality is definitely more important than quantity.
Definitely.
One great year is way better than 5 really terrible years.
Absolutely.
So that
you're totally right. And I talk about in the book, I don't want to get spiritual, but I call about, there's a Catholic theologian named Matthew Kelly who writes about holy moments. And when you see your loved one have a moment of joy, they're smiling, you can just tell that they're happy. It's a special, joyful moment. And as as your caregiver, family, loved one, I can't even tell you how special those moments when I could see my mom beam with smiles and laughing, and it's like, it's worth it then. It's a whole.
My brother, you're like a brother, because that's exactly how I would feel about my mom. I would get so happy when she was happy.
Yeah.
And
totally.
I knew when she was happy, and her big old fat grin that she had, that big giant grin, and like the day that she said I love you out of nowhere when she hadn't been talking for months, and I was like, what just happened? Like, you just ran a marathon. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah,
And I was like, those are the moments that, like, that was the gift she gave me. Like, I'll never forget that, ever.
That's the right word. It is a gift. It's a gift that you figured out how to get for yourself and for them, because you made it happen. You figured out how to create moments that help her in that space become happy and joyful. Yeah, no, it's special for sure.
It is special, and I think that what you're doing by writing the book and by being transparent and making that shift of perspective, your perspective, which is really important. We have to do that constantly in life, constantly.
No, I know. It's so funny. Yeah. When I decided to write, it was so funny. I did a couple podcasts for UCI, who I'm connected with, because I was talking to the director about my mom and some of the things I did.
What is UCI, so that the audience knows?
University of California at Irvine. They have an Alzheimer center called. Anyway, it's a fantastic place. But anyway, I knew the people there, and they said, "Oh, we have a podcast series called Spotlight on Care. Why don't you share some of your ideas?" This is right after my mom passed, and I thought, I've never done a podcast. Why not try it? And so people came out of the woodwork. And they said, "You've got some amazing ideas and perspectives, Mark. Why don't you write a book for people?" And I thought, write a book? I don't know how to write a book. But the next day, I took some notes and some more notes, and 8 months later, I had a draft of a book. Who knows? But it was it came very natural, and it came very inspired. While I was writing, I thought, this is really going to help people, because I worked hard and I learned a lot of things I want to share.
Exactly.
Was it therapeutic for you?
Sorry?
Was it therapeutic?
It was very therapeutic. Actually, good. I'm glad you asked that question. It felt therapeutic for me, and it also felt like a little bit of a celebration of my mom, because she's a lot of places in the book, and I talk about my grandmother, who was also very inspirational for me and very motivational. And so, it was therapeutic and celebratory at the same time. So, and helping people, I hope. So.
Absolutely. It's the way I feel about, My Mom and the Girl, which was very much, it was a celebratory kind of story of embracing what's in front of you and really finding the joy in it and seeing the gifts that are still there, which there are many along the way. And so if you don't look, you miss them, because they can be fleeting, but they're gold. They're gold.
Yeah, Totally.
And so I really appreciate you, and I also appreciate it, not to be a female chauvinist, but it comes from, I think it's important that we hear from male voices, and because, there are a lot of male caregivers, CEOs, leaders like you, who don't talk about it as much as women do, and I think it's great to have that perspective, that you're providing, and I love it, so I will support it a lot, and I think that you're a very tender version of the male species, and I appreciate that too. I find that very endearing.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, no, it was my mission taking care of my mom, and I figured, okay, I learned some things, I'm going to share them. But my support groups, there are male caregivers that are taking care of their wife. For the most part, it's their wife, and it's hard. I mean, Susie, you took care of your mom. I think Don I heard that it's your mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom
Yeah.
she's in the process right
Right.
now. I mean,
Yeah.
she's got Parkinson's
Yeah.
dementia. She's been in rehab since
Yeah.
September, and so I'm in the process.
So I have
right now, along with my
noticed.
brother and sister.
Yeah, I have noticed in my support group that's a little different dynamic taking care of your mother or father than it is your wife or your husband.
Agreed.
But
Agreed.
I see these people in the support groups that are males that are taking care of their wife or vice versa. It's hard because, the marriage is totally different. So,
Oh, I know. Like we have one of our interviewees the other person that I wrote the endorsement in his book, which is Tony Copeland Parker, who went through his whole journey with his wife, and again, like such a great role model for other men, and especially in a marital relationship, because that is different, and I find, and I know that adds a whole nother level of stress
Yeah, it's hard.
and loss and loss. So I think that you say that very well, and
It's
but
hard.
thank you for writing this book.
Thank
you
you.
for being such a lovely human being, such a caring human being, and a nice and
that
just
makes me
fun.
feel so good. You make me feel so good when you say that. Thank you.
Oh no, it's true. I mean, I'm not lying, folks. This is what you call a mensch.
I think I told you this. My mom, we were Catholic, but my mom taught
Yeah.
18 years at a Jewish preschool, kindergarten.
Oh, she did. God bless.
Yeah. She was loved there. It's so funny. The rabbi was like treated her like gold because the
Of
first
course.
couple of years she was there. During the holiday, she would like sneak in some Christian stuff, and the parents were like, "What is that doing there? We're Jewish." But he said, "Oh." The rabbi was like, no, if she wants to do that, it's okay. He knew
Lazar Lane.
She gets a pass. She gets a pass.
he knew that she taught the kids so well and they loved her. So like she gave her some passes on that. So.
We're all from the same God. That's my
Totally.
opinion anyway.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yes, definitely.
We're all from the same God. So, I just say it's different cultures. That's what I say, Listen, my first boss was a African American showrunner. I was the only female and the only white girl and the only Jew on the team, and he spoke more Yiddish than I ever knew in my life.
I know.
Eric Van Loo, if you're ever listening, like he spoke, I was like, "Are you sure you're not Jewish? What goes on here?" Like he was just like, he cracked me up. So anyway, I adore you. I thank you so much for what you're doing. Go get this book, everybody, because it does come from a different perspective, and it is practical. It's a practical guide. And I subscribe to it because I subscribe to finding the joy. What's the point of not doing that? There is no point.
No, totally. And taking care of our loved ones is so important, which is why I love your roar. I feel like roaring every day when I go to these meetings, and I advocate in D.C. I'm going back to D.C. to present to Congress to get funding for Alzheimer's research, and all these things are just like, I feel like roaring, and you guys, your
Yes.
cause is so important. It's such an important thing because our loved ones need help, and the elderly people need help, and we have to figure out how to do it personally. We have to figure out how to do it politically and system wise, and it's the right thing to do. It's it's what? Okay, see if I get this. It's a mitzvah.
Bam, bam. There you go. It's a mitzvah.
Nailed it.
It is a
You
mitzvah.
nailed it.
It is a mitzvah.
So yeah, check my website. It just came up my website like literally 3 days ago because I'm a little too old to be social media guru, but I've hired some teenagers to help me with my website, with my social media. But boldcareleader.com, check it out. You'll see my book, a little bit more about me, and
Oh yeah, we're gonna have it in the show notes.
wonderful.
Don't even
Oh,
worry
good. Thank
about it.
you.
It'll be
All
in
right,
the show
okay.
notes.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so you are the emblematic guest for our show.
Oh, my gosh,
You are emblematic for it, right, Don?
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's emblematic, and because we're basically all about love. It's in our title. It's love conquers all. Do you know why? And that is
do.
because love is powerful.
Yes.
Love is contagious.
Yes.
And love conquers all. We thank everybody for watching, listening.
Totally.
If you do like what you see and hear, please subscribe, share, tell people all about it. There was one other question though it was maybe more important than anything we've covered, and I have
What
to
is
ask
that?
you this right now.
Sure, Don.
Why doesn't Taco Bell bring back the enchilada? That's all I have to say.
Well, it's been a while since I've been there, but I still know people there. I'll make a call and see if I can get that back for you. Yeah,
Please do.
I'll make a call for you, Don.
And can I say he's serious?
Thank you.
He's
I know he's
serious.
serious.
I'm dead
He's
serious.
serious.
Everybody has their favorite. Everybody has their favorite product. Mine was a double-decker taco. So everybody has a little different. I'll check on the enchilada.
It's all
I'll
good.
give them a call
That's
tomorrow.
so funny. All right,
Please do.
everybody. All right, so keep up. We'll keep up. We'll let you know about the enchilada. In the meantime, we'll keep you posted on that, and we'll also keep you posted on the Roar Walk. And you can go to Roar4, the number 4ltc.org to find out more information. Join us if you can't walk. You can help call. You can email. You can just talk to people in the market. Let them
And
know what's
donate,
going on.
donate.
And donate.
We need funds.
We need
Yes,
funds. We got to get
absolutely.
T-shirts. We got to get drinks. We got to get, we're not paying ourselves, but we want to represent, right? That's the whole point, is awareness. And that's what we're trying to do because, again, the power of the people is greater than the people in power. No, remember that. We can do this. Love you all, and we'll see you and talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye-bye. Roar!
Roar! Roar!